All right, so in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at how to install Rust. Now, Rust is actually available for Mac, Linux, and Windows. So you can cross-compile applications. In other words, I can program on my Mac and then turn around and tell my Mac to compile an application for Windows. But the problem doing that is that it gets a little complicated because you got to download all the libraries and stuff for Windows so that the Mac knows how to actually do that. So in my application, what I plan to do is like the first application that we write is going to be a pretty simple little application, and we're going to be developing it specifically for running on Windows, because the application that it has to talk to is coming from a Windows platform. And so to do that, we'll take the code that we're actually developing on Mac, and then we'll copy it over to a Windows platform and recompile it. So it's hopefully not going to be that big of a deal, but from what I understand, that's the proper way to go about doing this. Again, we can copy everything down to my Mac and compile it on whatever platform, but it's just the way that this is the way I'm going to do it. So to get started, what we're going to do is we're going to go, right now we're on rust-lang.org, and we're going to click on the Get Started button here. And when you do, you'll notice right down here, it gives you a command to run at your command prompt to actually get the thing to install. Now, this is based on me being on Linux or on a Linux-like operating system. Again, I'm on my Mac. So it gives me this curl command because all Linux-based systems have that. And then once we run that, we're going to then come in here and run rust update, or rust up space update, and that'll go out and download any updates that exist for Rust. So rust up is a command that it uses to keep itself updated and to do other things. Now, one of the things about Rust that is kind of cool that, other programming languages make you go through and learn the hard way, is that if you scroll down a little bit farther, you end up finding out about Cargo. And Cargo is the name of another program that comes along with Rust that helps you build an entire application. So it goes in and builds your development build. It creates a file for you to be able to keep up with your includes and other things that you're actually going to be using in the application. It automatically downloads things that it doesn't currently have so that it's there for it to build the executable or the final binary. And so this documentation here walks me through how to go about doing all that stuff, and we're going to be doing it in actual video. But the installation, and if you're on Windows, you'll actually get a different method up here for installing it for Windows. In fact, let's see what happens here if we go to other installs, because I think you can use Rust up to do that. Let's see if they have a Windows for shell script. So I don't know. I don't have a Windows box sitting here at the moment to go in and look at, but you can. The website should hopefully give you the Windows installer. But again, we're going to be playing around with Mac, so it'll be a little bit different in that respect. And keeping this in mind too, is that I'm going to be developing this app on a Mac, and then we're going to take that code and we're going to move it to a Windows platform to try to compile. So we'll take a look at some of that process as well to see if this is something that we want to do. Now, I mentioned earlier that we actually have been developing in Go, and so in Go you actually can pretty easily tell it that I want to target a certain operating system, and it'll actually go and compile that on whatever operating system you're on. So if I'm programming on a Linux box, which I do regularly, I can tell it to compile for Mac, or I can tell it to compile for a Linux box, for a Windows box. So Go is pretty quick to allow me to do that. And again, I'm pretty sure that you can do the same thing in Rust, but you do have to install the operating system environment that you would want to target so that it knows what it has, the libraries available to actually do that. So that's really all there is to getting up and running in Rust. We'll start in the next video. We'll dive into this cargo a little bit and explain what it looks like it does and how it works, and how we're going to use it going forward when we're developing these applications.